After choosing the incident type and subtype, there will be a couple of questions that we would like you to answer. If your client has a PBSP or a TESP, a positive behavior support plan, or a temporary emergency safety plan, they will often have interventions or restraints that you have been trained on. If your client required you to use any kind of intervention or restraint, you will note it in this drop-down section. If you have been OIS trained, which is Organ Intervention Systems Training, you will pick PPI. Please be aware that PPI is specific to clients and you must have had OIS training to choose this option. If you had to use a restraint on your client or any type of physical impediment to their movement, you will put emergency physical restraint. These are not approved restraints, but they are used to keep clients from imminent harm. An example would be a client elopes from you in a public space and enters a parking lot. You have to physically block them or hold them so that they are not harmed. In this case, you would pick emergency physical restraint. If no restraint or interventions were used, go ahead and say no restraints or interventions were used. The next question is whether or not you called management to report interventions, restraints, or the incident. If you choose yes, it will pop up a date and time box. Please be sure that you fill out the date and you will also have to set the time. This can be changed. Be sure to pick the correct AM or PM. If you need to, check your phone log to make sure that you have the right time. And finally, the last question before we start getting into describing the incident itself is whether or not care was sought. Please do not put a simple yes or no here. Put yes or no and then clearly described why or why not, where, when, and what type. For instance, if your client eloped in the parking lot, you restrained them, and potentially you had to go to the ground with your client and there were a few minor cuts and scrapes, but it didn't require an ER visit, I would put no care was sought, but I did administer first aid for a few scrapes and scratches. Okay, the next part of the incident report form is clearly filling out the incident from start to finish and what preceded the incident and what followed the incident. We're going to go more in depth into these in the next video.